In this video, we're going to look at the importance of having a clear, simple structure to a lesson. Good lessons have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's a good idea to start a lesson with a starter activity, something that's engaging and interesting that captures the learner's attention, particularly if that starter activity relates to the content. At the first part of the lesson in the beginning section, you'll also as a teacher need to explain your lesson objectives clearly, what the children will know, what they will understand and what they will be able to do by the end of the lesson. And then you need to get quickly into the content of the lesson, explaining the topic, beginning to cover the important information that's needed, giving the learners the key facts and asking them questions to help them think through the task that they're going to do. We're then going to see a middle part of a lesson in which you'll see two activities take place. First, analysing a poem and then beginning to write a poem themselves. The final part of the video will look at a plenary and reviewing what's been achieved, and you'll also see the teacher setting some homework very clearly and explicitly so that the learners know exactly what it is that they've got to do.
There's a lot I want to get through this lesson, but before I share the lesson objectives with you, I'd like to do a starter activity with you, if that's okay. I want you to work together. I want you to work in pairs. You're a three, if that's all right. We're going to work in pairs, and I'm going to ask you to generate a list of words that come into your minds when you think of the word storm. Straight away, just to help you, I'm thinking of pictures of storms and footage of storms I might have seen on the television or in a film. Have a go. Do it now. I'm not going to give you long. 30 seconds. Go. Quick as you can. If you're stuck now, have a think of words that we could use to describe a storm. What might you hear? What might you see? Have a think about that. Okay, thank you. I'd like to hear some of the words, please. I'm going to capture them on the whiteboard up here. So just put up your hands for me, please.
Treacherous.
Thank you. More hands, please.
Colossal.
Yes. There. Any more? Yes, please.
Loud.
Yes, please.
Destruction.
Destruction. Great. Does anyone notice anything about these words so far? Yes, please.
They're all negative stuff.
Yeah.
Like all negative words.
Was that what everyone else was going to say then?
Yes.
They are all negative words, yes they are. So when we're thinking about, when we brainstorm the word storm, we come up with a lot of negative words. And that leads us nicely into the poem that we are going to look at. Here are the lesson objectives. The first one is, we're going to look in detail at the poem, Storm on the Island by Seamus Heaney. The second learning objective is we're going to be able to describe how the poet makes life seem difficult on this island. And the third objective is we're going to begin to write, you are going to begin to write your own poem about something difficult in your own life. And you're going to complete that for homework for me. But I'll talk more about that towards the end of the lesson. What I'd like to do first of all is, obviously we need to read the poem. Okay, so I'm going to read it for you. Okay, but I'd like you please to read along. And I would like you, okay, to notice things about the poem, about the poet's use of words, of language, when writing about a storm. To help you, just before I read it, the poet is looking at a violent storm that is hitting an island, and it's causing a lot of destruction, and the people who live on the island are quite frightened. Okay? So we may unpick that a little bit more as we go through the lesson, but if you just listen carefully to me now. Okay? Storm on the island. We are prepared. We build our houses squat, sink walls in rock and roof them with good slate. The wizened earth has never troubled us with hay, so as you can see, there are no stacks or stubs that can be lost. Nor are there trees which might prove company when it blows full blast. You know what I mean? Leaves and branches can raise a tragic chorus in a gale so that you can listen to the thing you fear, forgetting that it pummels your house too. But there are no trees, no natural shelter. You might think the sea is company exploding comfortably down on the cliffs, but no. When it begins, the flung spray hits the very windows, spits like a tame cat turned savage. We just sit tight while wind dives and strafes invisibly. Space is a salvo. We are bombarded by the empty air. Strange. It is a huge nothing that we fear. But the first thing I'd like you to do is I want you to read that poem to yourself. And I want you to have a pencil. And with the pencil, if there's anything you're not clear on or you're not sure of, I just want you to underline it. If there's any words you don't understand, for instance. Okay.
So the beginning of a lesson is an opportunity to do several key things as a teacher. Firstly, and most importantly, you'll need to engage the children's interest by giving them something to do straight away when they come in the classroom. This might be to ask a question, pose a question, or get them to share an idea. In this case, the teacher asks them to come up with words to describe a storm. This also related directly to the content of the lesson, which is another very important skill as a teacher, giving that sense of continuity so that the lesson makes sense. You want to then explain the lesson objectives very clearly and go through them step by step. It's also important in the beginning of a lesson to give enough input. Sometimes teachers make the mistake of not allowing the children to understand exactly what they're going to do, but also not to give them enough ideas for them to work on when you get to the middle of the lesson and the activities. And you don't have to do that by going on and on in an uninteresting way, repeating facts. Notice how the teacher in the previous clip had very simply read the poem first of all in an engaging way, and then gave the learners the opportunity to read it again, this time marking it up for the things that they noticed. Not only did this give the learners something to do, it also meant that they were hearing the poem for the second time, first from the teacher, but then also hearing it in their own heads while they read it.